My name is Sandra Longweaver. I'm the editorial director for the Tennessee Tribune. And our guest today is someone you probably don't know. Her name is Alisha James, and she is the Assistant Commissioner of Community Supervision for the Tennessee Department of Corrections. A very long title, but yes. Welcome today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes, and so we wanted to talk to you a little bit about what that encompasses and how long have you been here? Can you tell me a little bit more about yourself and how long you've been here? And
sure. So I have been a part of the law enforcement community in Nashville, Tennessee for over a decade now. I started my career at the Nashville Police Department, and I spent some time with federal probation, but I was still stationed here in Nashville, and then transferred over to Tennessee Department of Correction.
Okay.
And the Community Supervision Division houses the probation, parole, and community corrections for the entire state. So we have approximately 78,000 offenders up under our supervision.
78,000 for the entire state.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's talk a little bit more about that. And one of the things what's the difference between probation and parole?
Okay, that's a great question. So probationers are sentenced by the court. They go through the court system. A person could have a probated system or a probated sentence directly from the court versus a parolee spends some time in the institution, and then they're paroled out to supervision. So they're both post-conviction supervision, but one is directly from the court and one spends some time within the institution.
Okay.
We also have community corrections, which that is through the court as well. There are 19 community correction contract agencies across the state.
Across the state?
Across the state,
So when you say contract, so are they private then, or?
Right, so they're contracted through TDOC, and though they have a certain standard that they have to meet, we have them in various areas across the state, and the judges, they usually have smaller caseloads. The judges have really close working relationships with probation employees and community corrections employees, actually, so it's just an option for the court.
Okay, all right, so today, overseeing a prison system, 78,000 people though still seems like a lot for the state of Tennessee. Is it growing? Is it stagnant?
Right.
Are we hoping to reduce it? And how would we go about that?
That's a great question. We are absolutely hoping to reduce it. We are more targeted in the Tennessee Department of Correction than I think we ever have been. The Public Safety Act of 2016 passed last year, and this new legislation allows us to be more targeted in the way that we supervise our offenders. And so before we had validated risk and needs assessment tools for the offenders to assess the offender's needs, but now we have a revamped validated risk and needs assessment tool. So let me explain to you a little bit about what that means.
Okay.
That is a means by which we identify the risk of the person and the needs, the programming needs or substance abuse needs or mental health treatment needs that person would need to be successful in our community.
Okay.
And so we are very targeted in the fact of making sure that we provide comprehensive wraparound services for our offenders. Traditionally, community corrections, probation, parole, and the institution was very driven about accountability, very structured program, but we didn't do a lot with programming. And some of our conservative partners will say, well, why educate? Why even waste time, if you will, educating these folks? 95% of our probationers and parolees are coming into our community. So they're going to be our neighbors. They're going to be shopping at our Kroger's and at our YMCA's, working out with us. So why would we not program them? Why would we not offer educational opportunities for those folks just as any other citizen? And so we are very targeted in not only looking at the prescriptive nature of the risk and needs assessments, but we are looking at what other, the intangibles, if you will. How to write a resume, what do you wear to an interview?
So basically how you can reintegrate yourself into society in a way that it's almost seamless.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's a really good point because we are very targeted on seamless supervision in our model, where we ensure that offender has everything, is offered everything that he or she needs to be successful. And then we hold that offender accountable. So we are not in any way soft on crime, or we're very targeted with the public safety aspect of it.
Okay.
And so we have this accountability driven measure or model that we incorporate programming, education, and anything, if a person doesn't have a place to lay his or her head, they may not be as focused on the college courses or the high school GED courses that we're trying to give them.
Right.
So, we're working with our partners, our community partners. The community is a huge piece in what we do now in the Tennessee Department of Correction, having that community buy-in. We have employers who will say, I'll take a couple felons. It's okay if they have a felony background, and they can work at my place of business.
Oh.
We really need that community support to help our offenders find jobs, because we know, jobs and education can change the shape of the offender's life.
Right, and so then they may not be able to leave the prison system if they don't have a job, if they don't have a place to live.
There you go.
And how is that, there are more women, unfortunately, that are going into the prison system or ending up on probation. How does it break down population-wise? Out of the 78,000,
Right.
how many women are you seeing?
Right. So our largest population is still male. We still have a very large population for our male offenders. However, we're seeing that women probationers and parolees they are increasing, and so we have targeted programming for women-specific only courses for those probationers and parolees. We have some caseloads that deal with either victims of domestic violence or domestic violence offenders who have female victims. So we're targeted in our approach of supervision. As well as our institution, we have transition centers that we're developing for that woman population coming up in the future. So I'm giving a little teaser about that coming up.
That's what. That's moving into what I want to talk about next.
Okay. So we are a much more. We look at our model and we look at the offenders that we have up under our supervision, and we're creating plans for them to be successful, keeping in mind that women have differences than men, and different demographics even have differences. So.
Okay. Yeah, because often women have children that they're leaving behind, which may be in a foster care system or with a grandparent or aunt, if they're lucky to be with another family member.
Right.
But let's jump a little bit to, so what does the future look like for probation and parole and community corrections?
That's a great question. So the Public Safety Act, as I mentioned earlier, we have a lot of new initiatives that kicked off in January of 2017. The risk and needs assessment, the graduated sanctions. The graduated sanctions is an important model for us to really, the community to know about. It's an accountability driven model that will address non-compliant behavior for our offenders while maintaining their place in society, in the community.
Oh, really?
And so it's not, it's not a one and done type of situation where a person has a chance. If we have a failed drug screen, that officer has 2 sanctions within that block of sanctions for depending on the level of supervision for the offender. They have 2 sanctions that they can apply for the offender to get that offender back into compliance. Now, for our lower risk people, we have a structured plan where they may have a couple of opportunities to get back on track. We're going to work with them. We're going to, we may increase reporting. We may obviously prescribe some type of programming, may have community service work hours that they have to complete. And we hope to get them back into compliance while keeping them in the community, because families stay together, they maintain their jobs. It's overall better for Tennessee. And then for our offenders who have the more egregious criminal histories and those that are more of a risk to society but have been probated or paroled, they may only have one opportunity to get it right. And if they don't get it right, then and they're still non-compliant, at that point, we will request a warrant for them to be go back in front of the parole board or the judge, the sentencing judge. So, we have a wide spectrum. We can't lump all of our offenders into one pot. We know that some folks, have a really tough criminal history.
Yes.
And we know some folks, they may have 2 or 3 offenses and just kind of got off on the wrong track. And so our model will hold offenders accountable across our spectrum while driving home the importance of programming, education, job placement, and family unification.
Wow, so there is quite a lot that's going on that most people don't know about. So there seems to be a lot going on with your division. For the people who'd like to learn more, how can they get in touch with you?
Well, you guys can follow us on any social media site. We're on Facebook and Twitter and Periscope. Also, our website is tn.gov/corrections. And we also have a Citizens Academy open for all of Tennessee citizens.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Alisha James, for joining us today. I've learned a lot, and I hope you've learned a lot. And I will see you the next time.